Shalom. Call Halal, Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi, Sham, Qadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to the 144,000. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the heathen, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like the heathen. And to my fellow laborers that do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. And those few sisters, few aquaf that listen and learn. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson. And Lucky, I got this loose crown. It's making me my speech kind of jacked up sometime. Gotta get into the dentist to get this thing fixed. But this name of this lesson is going to be inclined to be disingenuous pretender. All right. And, and the Edomites pretend to be Jacob. And that's going to kind of be covered a couple times in here. All right. But I want to look that word up. And you listen to it for yourself. I don't know. The spirit jumped on me to look up that word pretender. And here it is. This is from the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia Edition with biblical references, 1934. And pretender, it says, one who lays false claim to anything under the appearance of a right. Wow. This lesson is going to cover that. People not laying claim to land, to heritages, to someone else's heritage. All right, let me read that again. One who lays false claim to anything under the appearance of a right. All right. Who makes a false show of anything. Then it gives you an example. The pretender, James Stewart, son of James II, of the Jacobites, meaning the Israelites, rebelled in 1715, also called the Old Pretender. All right. So what's that telling you? That pretty much the people that are claiming to be the royal family today over in Britain are not. They married into the royal family. The royal family was actually, Negroes. King James, his son Charles, his grandson Charles II, who was beheaded by Oliver Cromwell, is all the Negroes, all the dark Jacobites were being removed and sent to Jamaica and other places to serve slavery. He beheaded him, and his nickname was Black Boy. And there are images of him. So, this, like I said, so history has been completely disingenuous and it has been completely whitewashed. All right? It just has. And it's funny, too. I just find it amazing how poverty and ghettos, and I often say that the nigger in America is a creation of the so-called white man. Just like he created whiteness, he created blackness. But the nigger is a result of his doing. All right? That pants sagging, dreadlock wearing, weed smoking, multiple baby mama, multiple baby daddy, ghetto. They created that because there was none of that. It was their actions that made that happen. It was planned. Because Negroes had, even under the wicked Jim Crow laws, what you're looking at now, even under those circumstances, in the earlier part of the 19th century, the Negroes were, after slavery, because they were used to doing all the work and knew how to do the work, outperformed and built up better towns and settlements than their counterparts, the so-called white man, who basically self-proclaimed himself white in 1681. That's a fraud. That's a pretender. Another them pretending again. All right. They made it up. All right. And it was all to support this newly found whiteness and this newly found white supremacy. Okay. Do some research. All right. But like I said, they created redlining. They did the drowned towns, the Red Summer of 1919. And then, of course, these Jim Crow laws. And by doing that, they were able to translate wealth and power, let's get that in the book of Sirach, to themselves. And this is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter and the 8th verse. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Because, you know, resources, power, wealth doesn't just go away. It gets transferred, you know, from one people to another people, or from one person to another person. All right, from one government to another government. You know, it's rare that wealth is just destroyed. It gets transferred. It's like all the museums, you know, in Western society. The museums are evidence of their rape, rob, murder, of their murder and their theft. It's exactly what it is. All right. So I'm going to play a little video from TikTok, and I'm going to read an article. Because, you know, actually, let me read the article first. Let's find this article. All right. Apostle Ramlaf sent a bunch of stuff to me, and this was one of them. And it was from Natural News, and it's called No Whites Allowed. So I'm going to just read through this. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read a good chunk of it. No whites allowed. 94% of corporate America's new workforce are people of color. Well, that's partly that's many other, you know, reasons behind that too. It's got nothing to do with, they'll try to say it's all due to affirmative action and all that sort of thing. But it's also got to do with the fact that white people aren't producing. They haven't been having babies like everyone else for the last 40-something years. As a matter of fact, most of the adult-age baby-making people, they lost 40 million. Just in America, 40 million childbearing age adults died, you know, going back 20 years from the start of the pandemic, and even more now. And in that time, they were also pushing and teaching, you know, their women and their men to you know, not have children until later in life, and you know, and focus on your career. So, you know, the average white woman, so-called self-proclaimed white woman, they don't even start having children until their late 30s and 40s. And then they're having problems having children. Even the younger ones in most cases are having problems having children. They're just not a fertile and strong people. And then, you know, so the truth of the matter is, it's their policy, their deceitful policy with, you know, with all these people that come in the land of, most of the people that come from the Western Asia, all right, which they fraudulently call the Middle East. You know, I wish brothers would, you know, catch on to that. Stop calling it the Middle East and refer to it as Asia. All right. To prove that, here's my map of Asia. I hope they don't make this because every time I put this map up, they make it the thumbnail. But when you're looking at Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, you know, Oman, Jordan, Syria, land of Israel, Turkey, Armenia, that's West Asia. The color, this is a map of Asia. From Russia, from the Bering Strait, East Asia, all the way to West Asia. The Middle East is called Western Asia. All right? So that Middle East, just like they made up whiteness, they created that. And then try to and pretend, making a false claim, that there's like a race connected to that landmass. So you got all these people of color, because Western Asia connects to Africa. So that whole, you know, you've heard the people talk about the black Asiatic man. All the people in Asia, you know, the Arabs, they were all, before all the racial mixing, before Alexander conquered, and they were all dark, including the Europeans. But that's another lesson. But now that we got that out the way, that has to be said when you talk about, you know, this subject matter. But it says, no whites allowed. 94% of corporate America's new workforce are people of color. It says anti-white bias, big government, culture wars, DEI, diversity, equity, identity politics, inclusion, insanity, left cult, political correctness, progress, propaganda, race relations, race war, social injustice, woke mob, wokies. All right, that's the tags that you know that for this article. So this article is going to go out to all those people, and it says the following the 2020 Black Lives Matter, BLM. Let's talk about that. BLM is actually a white organization with alphabet style women of color as the face of it. So that when they do something and it does something, that's why they work so closely with Antifa. It's the same organization basically. All right, and then they put the B on it on the end of it. So that it's a scapegoat when things go wrong, and to help further the hate and the separation. But you know that's what these people do. They play both sides. All right. But it says following the 2020 Black Lives Matter BLM protests, there is a trend toward systematic discrimination against white individuals, which is no such thing as white. They're actually red, kind of pinkish, red flesh, because their blood shows forth under their skin. All right, you're looking at white robes that this clan family is wearing. All right, that's white. Their skin doesn't blend in with what they're wearing. All right, but it says the U.S. Employment Opportunity Commission mandates that companies that employ 100 or more workers annually report demographic information about their workforce. Bloomberg acquired the data in 2020 and 2021 from 88 SP 100 companies and analyzed the overall job growth at these firms. In total, these companies expanded the U.S. workforces by 323,094 individuals in 2020, making the first year following the BLM protest. This data presents the most recent available. Among the job additions were 20,524 were white employees, while the remaining 300,570 positions, constituting 94% of overall increase, were filed by people of color. So this is there, and when they're showing you this, you know, you see they show you this this image. You know what? I'm gonna screenshot and save that image because it actually shows you there's no one's white, but it's showing you this this image here of all these peoples. You know, so no one's black and no one's white, not a one. All right, the Lord didn't create black and white people. Esau, Edom did that. All right, he fabricated and you know forged that fraud, that lie. All right, but they'll sit up and complain about, you know, things like this, and then just overlook the fact that, you know, that they created black poverty. You know, like I said, the redlining, the red summer, destroying all the black settlements and towns, burning them down, the drowned towns, and then selling off and making money hand over fist off the land that they had just taken. All right. That's what they did. They claim innocence, but I've yet to see any of these white heirs to, you know, to return their stolen inherited land in America or anywhere else. I've never seen one of them do it. All right. Now, as America, you know, as America fails, and the fraud of created whiteness is hated and not loved, they want to cry foul and no fair. All right, well, you know what? Let's listen to some of their crimes. And then they call it critical race theory. No, it's critical race historical facts. Critical race facts, not theory. Okay? So let me go to, oh, perfect. I went right to it. So I'm going to just let this play and be quiet. So hold on. Let me turn the sound up. All the way up. I think this is it. Yep.
It is hidden in a narrow patch of forest between rows of $500,000 homes. Even looking straight down, nothing betrays the mystery of what lies beneath. The that's left of the old Black Baptist Church at Stony Point. Look closely at the dates. Why do they all end before 1912? This is not evidence of promises broken, but of loved ones kept away, because the men, women, and children buried here were the only black residents of Forsyth County, Georgia, for nearly all of the 20th century.
All of the Negro people had to leave. There was knocking on the door, and they were told to get out.
Elon Osby heard the story directly from her own mother, Willie Mae Bagley, just a 2-year-old back in 1912 when the Night Riders came to their home and so many others in Forsyth County.
Those Night Riders were dressed like what you're looking at on the screen, by the way. All right, and this is a TikTok video called Whitewashed, the racial cleansing of Forsyth County. I'll put it up briefly because I'm not going to sit up here and hold this. But I'll put it up for anyone who wants to search because somebody's going to ask. So there it is. All right. Whitewashed, the racial cleansing of Forsyth County. And that's the information, you know, the TikTok video. All right.
Imagine the fear that they would have felt. There was a wagon that my grandfather had, and so whatever they were able to, you know, get on that wagon and save, that's what they left with.
William and Ida Bagley paid taxes on 60 acres they owned in 1912. We could find no record of any sale in the county courthouse except those of white men later selling parcels of the Bagleys' land to one another.
Wow. So what that means is that everybody in the courthouse was in on it. The judges, the sheriffs, the lawyers. This man had 60 acres of land and he left with a wagon. One horse-drawn wagon. And that's all that he had to show for his 160 acres of land, which you could see being sold back and forth to between white people, so-called self-proclaimed white people. All right, you're going to be devoured like you did devour. Matter of fact, let's get that. It's Jeremiah. I have a cup that a brother gifted me that says, "The water Yahawah, I'm not Esau Edom," and it got Jeremiah 30:16 on it. So let's get that. Jeremiah 30:16, and it reads, I'm going to read up to 18. "Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahawah, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Thus saith Yahawah, Behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof." So we're about to come up. As this place is all this madness and all this pain that is coming. You know, Jacob's trouble is going to start off as Jacob's trouble, but it's going to end as Esau's. So the faster they get this party going, the better off we are. As a matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah, and I'm going to read it out of the NIV. I'm going to go to Isaiah, the 14th chapter. And read some of the passages in there. This is Isaiah 14 and 1. And it reads, "And the Lord will have compassion on Jacob, and once again he will choose Israel and will settle them in their own land. And aliens will join them and unite with the house of Jacob." All right. "Nations will take them and bring them to their own place, and the house of Israel will possess the nations." All right. So those aliens are the Israelite foreigners. You notice it was a separation between the aliens and the nations. You got to remember, you know, the Bible through and through tells you that the Israelites would go into captivity. They're under the curses, and then at the end, the second covenant, they will be redeemed and gathered out of every place that they were scattered to. That's the message in the Bible. They wouldn't, and that wouldn't happen until the end. And when they're redeemed, all 12 tribes are redeemed together. There will be no more wars, and all the nations would go into captivity under them and serve them. That's how Israel returns, not through a declaration or someone getting on a plane or someone drawing up papers and then saying that they own the land, or trying to hide and cover up history and whitewash history to fit a narrative. All right? And the house of Israel will possess the nations as men servants and maid servants in the land of the Lord, and they will make captives of their captors. All right? We all know who the captors are still here. All right? That's very plain. And they will rule over their oppressors. So Esau, Edom, you know, the so-called white man, and the other heathen nations that helped them, Psalms 83, you know, they're all going to go into slavery for 1,000 years. At the end of that 1,000 years, all the nations will go back to their lands as they were given to them in the beginning when you go back to Genesis. But the land of Edom, you know, will be occupied by Jacob, because Esau will have no land, because Esau's going to get rounded up and burned. And then you're finally going to have that genocide that, you know, that of a whole nation of people that they fraudulently and pretended like it happened, you know, and, you know, or that, you know, that how the apologists, James White, you know, Dr. James White and Vocab Malone, try to push that, well, the Edomites were done away with, and most Christians for that matter. And there's no evidence that 1 billion people or close to 1 billion people, you know, were annihilated off the face of the earth. And then there's no bones, no battle, no relics, nothing, you know, just them saying it had happened, which is a complete and total lie. All right. But it's going to happen. And it will be honored and remembered. All right. And, you know, probably raise cups and celebrate and drink and have a feast day, enjoying and remembering, putting the sword, the axe, you know. There's one scripture in the book of Kings that I'm thinking of when it talked about how the mighty man of King David put all these, you know, the sword, the axe, the knife, the spear, the pike, you know, the club, whatever, you know, to these heathens, to the Edomites. Well, you know, and, you know, that's going to be happening, and then they're going to be burned up, you know, and there will be no more of them, and it will be greatly celebrated forever and ever. All right. That's going to actually be written into the Bible, the extension of the Bible. Everything that's happening right now is going to be written in the, you know, the men that stood so stiffly for the Lord, as it says in Wisdom of Solomon, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. They're going to be written in that book. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, Qadash, Kwam Yasharala Shalom.